Hello. I think we're live. Let me check. Okay, I'm gonna do some meal prepping. Oh, my alarm just rang. So I'm just gonna do some meal prepping. Honestly, it's typically quite boring to me, because it's not like super exciting cooking. It's just cooking to get meals ready for the week, and all however much I want to do so. Like as in, I just tend to freeze a lot of things and then I heat them up when I need them because it just helps. So I don't have to think about cooking all the time. So today I'm going to prepare a whole bunch of minced beef in my all-in-one cooker. And then we'll just chat, and I don't know, if people come in and they chat with me, that's nice. But also, if you don't, that's okay too. You'll find something else to do. So for now, we're just gonna do that. Let me just make this even higher. There we go. Is that better? I think that's probably better. Okay. So if you don't like looking at a whole bunch of raw meat, then maybe this isn't this isn't something for you. Okay, first I'm gonna need some of my herbs and spices. Here we go. I use an Italian seasoning. And oh no, things are. And then this cayenne pepper. I didn't realize the camera would be flipped. Oh well. I'll fix that next time. And then some ground chili. And then I got this salt, which is a herb salt from my trip to Peru like 2 years back or something. I'm still going through it. Yeah, I went to Peru, and that trip was intense. I had a plan with someone, a friend, and then the plans changed, and then I had already booked certain plane tickets, but because plans changed, I couldn't really change them, and I ended up having to fly 4 flights to Peru. The journey from where I am, which is Singapore, to Peru is already quite ridiculous. but we added more challenge, because why not, right? Why not fly 4 flights to Peru? So what I do is I tend to put some of the spices and salt and stuff in at the bottom, so that what I'm going to do is just dump all the meat in the pot, flatten it out so that it can fry, and then I just pressure cook it for a little bit, and that's it. Minimal effort to get juicy, yummy food and good nutrition. That's generally what I try to do when I cook for myself. So, I mean, sometimes I miss. So in the last game where we played Firewatch, some parts of the game talked about Boulder, Colorado, and I studied there. Studied body work, and I was a poor student at the time, and I I had to cook on my own quite a bit. And I realized, I mean, before that I did cook as well. I made, that was not the first time I cooked in my life. I used to like cooking for fun too. But that was the first time I cooked very consistently. And I realized I quite liked the routine of cooking, you know, every evening after class for myself. And just sitting at the dining room of the house that I was staying at with a bunch of staying with this family who were barely home. It was mainly like the dad who was home, and he was rarely home. So yeah, I could just sit at the dining room and look into the beautiful nature of Colorado and enjoy my meal. So yeah, I wish I could do more of that. So I liked cooking then because it seemed like a really nice routine and my day calmed down. But in Singapore, it feels like this works, this meal prepping, because then I don't have to think about food too much. I'm just smashing it down now. I don't have to think about food too much. And not sure where would be a good place to put this. Is this good? Yeah, like I just have to heat it up, and when I'm tired or when it's a bit of a struggle executive functioning wise for me, I still have nutritious food for me to eat, and that's important to me. So now what I do is I put the herbs and stuff on top too, so that I can smash it in as well. I honestly don't know what it looks like. I hope the lighting and everything's okay. What am I doing here? Rosemary. So I'm going to go in and out of the shots because my spices are not right next to the place I cook at. Because I tend to prepare things at the microwave. If I want to add more spices, like when I make eggs and stuff, I might add some herbs to my eggs. So now I'm just going to smash the herbs and the salt in so that it gets in between all of the minced beef. Anyway, I thought I would do this because, like, I like to stream, it seems. And I wanted to try streaming from my phone and doing something else other than gaming or streaming from my laptop. So I thought I'd try this out. And since this is kind of a chore to do, this might be funner to do while streaming and chatting about random things. Okay, everything's in. Now, what we do is we start heating that up. I'm gonna fry it, and I put the lid on top so that it is not too, the smell doesn't go everywhere in the apartment. There we go. turn it on, and then we'll pick the saute. Boop, boop, boop. Honestly, I do this for like 30 minutes. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for 30 minutes, but let's see. And then now I can bring my laptop over and have a look at things. Okay, so also yesterday I watched Shakespeare in the Park. Thanks to my partner who got tickets, and we managed to get a good seat. Well, we had to bring our picnic mat and choose a seat, and we're lucky that we managed to like kind of set our mat up earlier, thanks to her working on the project. So it was fun. And usually when I go for big events like that, to me these are big events like loud sounds, big crowds, bright lights, and I was and then it was a late-ish night as well. I tend to go to or be in bed quite early these days, so I was sensorially cooked, and that's why I'm not playing Firewatch today, because I think if I played more more games and stuff, I will probably be dead. I would be dead, and I want to do things tomorrow. So this is one of the ways that I try and take care of my sensory cup, my sensory self. And that's a video that I have been wanting to make, this video about sensory rest and how different ways that I do it or how we can do it. But I haven't done it yet. And I think having more practice with it has helped with recently going for more events and things like that. As in attending and just watching more things, I am learning better how to manage my sensory needs. Let's bring my laptop here. We can look at the stream also. And you can see how it looks like. It looks pretty nice. It looks pretty good. Okay. So recently I've been trying to do like 5 minutes of practice of Japanese every day, because one, I love traveling to Japan. I'm not going to do that this year because I'm probably going to need to move houses, but maybe next year. And what I want to do the next time I go to Japan is try to be able to speak to more people more fluently. I used to be able to speak more Japanese when I was studying in Colorado because I had Japanese classmates in class, and because I hung around them quite a lot, I managed to just pick up Japanese for fun, like just from being among them and just trying to speak Japanese with them. But since not really needing to do that, I've lost quite a bit of it. And then when I traveled to Japan the last time, which was 2023, yeah, it was pretty abysmal. I was like, wow, what the heck happened? I could understand what people were saying because I can practice listening easy, right? I can watch anime, I can listen to songs, I can watch YouTube videos with people speaking Japanese, but to be able to speak and have a conversation with someone, and then to be able to produce, like, recall words and then bring them out into the world. Yeah, I couldn't do that very well. So I'm hoping that I can do that better the next time. It's cooking. I hope. Okay, that's the fan on, so the smell goes up. I don't know if that means the sound for the stream is really shit now. But we'll see. Okay, so we are here cooking. Meanwhile, this thing is heating up. It's probably going to take a while, to be honest. It's going to heat up for a while. And what I can do is we can move back to the usual stream area for a while and just chill there for a bit before this is done. Okay. What I'm looking for now is, like, maybe we can answer some questions on Reddit, like on Reddit Fitness or something, because and then it's interesting just to see what people ask these days. Oh, it started. Okay, it's heating up enough, so now it's like cooking. It's real. It's real now. Real. Okay, so people don't ask very, like, straightforward questions. A lot of them are like workout routine critique questions. Like, is this routine bad? which then I'm like, what is bad and what's good to you? Usually when someone asks, like, okay, like some of my clients do ask me this, right? They're like, how should I structure my workout? What should I do? How many days a week should I work out? What kinds of workout should I do? Should I do yoga? Should I do Pilates? Should I run? Should I play tennis? Should I do this? Should I do that? And I think the main thing to ask yourself is like, one, what do you like to do? And what do you enjoy to do? Because you're more likely to stick to something and stay healthy with it if you like it. And then from there, and then this is a difficult question also when you're like, do you like doing something? Because let's say it would be beneficial for you to maybe gain a little bit more muscle. It could be beneficial for you to add some resistance training to your life. But initially, when you have not done resistance training, that can feel pretty painful. Which I've experienced with clients before. They're like, oh, this is painful. And also with beginners, like the sensation of strain or effort can be conflated and mistaken for pain, and so you need to kind of get a better understanding on different types of sensations. So the question of like, what do you enjoy and what do you need, that kind of needs to be like maybe a compromise there sometimes for some people, because sometimes what you need is genuinely something that you need to consider. Like if you have an injury and it does help to do certain exercise to help you gradually increase the ability to do something, you might need to be a bit more specific and consistent with something. So so one, what do you enjoy? What do you need? How can you find like a middle ground for those two things if you need to do that? And then also, how much time would you like to spend on this? And there are some people who love working out and their hobby is working out and they want to spend time working out. Kind of like how some people love rock climbing and they want to make time for climbing, or people love music and they love playing music, so they make time to play music. If you love working out and you want to make time for working out, then maybe that's a whole other thing. It's just like, okay, how much time realistically can you make for this, so that you have all the time that you want to spend on it. But then for some people it's like, I don't know, like you do not actually have all that much time, and fitness is just something you want to add to your life to help you do the rest of your life, because you just want to stay healthy. Like human body needs to move, human body needs some level of physical activity to stay healthy and happy. So you want to do that in order to go spread your love to the rest of your life and be able to do more activities. So then it's maybe even about like, what's the minimum you can do in the time that you have that will be beneficial for the rest of your life, that will not eat into your life that much, and also in terms of energy levels, because it is energy spent, right, to exercise, but you also do gain other health benefits, and you might eventually get more energetic if you do a recoverable volume of it. But like how much of it can you do in order for it to not eat into your life too much? Yeah. And then also exercise can look like, do you like to do it with people? Do you like to do it with just on your own? Do you like to do it at home? Do you like to do it outside? Do you like to do it at the gym? And yeah, there are many ways to go about it. Something I do, something that's nice about like doing it alone is that you can do it anytime. And then doing it, if you have the privilege of being able to work out at home, and you do have limited time, you can just do like little 5 to 10 minute workouts every day or something like that. Or if you do work at home, you can even spread it out throughout your day, if that is what works for you. And then if you like going for classes, the challenging thing about classes is that because most classes, I know there are some classes out there who actually program some kind of graded progression for the whole class. So provided you join them at a specific time of the year, they probably do some kind of assessment on you, and then you go accordingly, and then they teach you how to go at your own pace as well. So the nice thing is you work out with people, and you like have accountability, and you have maybe a fun thing to go to with friends. But yeah, but the stuff about that is that most group classes don't do that, and most group classes just kind of take you in, and then you kind of do whatever they do that day, and then you just go in randomly, and then it's just whatever comes up, you do that. And if you have the capacity for it, meaning like your body is able to adapt and do many things, that's great, because variety can be really fun. But for some people, and I have experienced this with clients as well, they go for a class, maybe they're on ClassPass, and they go for all sorts of random classes, and they go for a class and they don't typically go for that class. And classes are 1 hour most of the time, so you have this 1 hour class of an activity you don't typically do, or that maybe you've never done even, and it can be very challenging. And if you don't really know how to do that, like how to measure your own capacity within classes, and being like, and checking in with yourself and being like, okay, that's a little bit much, let me just go slow here, or just take a break and I'll go off to the side of class and chill. It can turn out an injury, which has happened to a bunch of my clients. And then I ask them, like, is this a class that you want to participate in and continue doing? And if they're like, yeah, I want to do it, and they're like, okay, let's try and get you back to being able to do this class safely for yourself. So, and then let's maybe do some other stuff first before we go back to that class. So, yeah, long-winded way of talking about workouts and routines. But yeah, that's how you can figure out what works for you. And then if you love resistance training, you love weightlifting, there are so many programs out there. So most of my life I've been in some kind of sports, and so I train the sport, and if I did any kind of conditioning work, as in weighted exercises, calisthenics, whatever, it would be to supplement the sport. So I never really focused on going to the gym until 2021. I joined the gym, and before that I was working out with friends. We did more free weight stuff, and then we did more like mixture of stuff that was still quite like athletic training. So doing things like more like power-based movements, strength-based movements. I had the option to be able to go to the park and toss sandbags and stuff like that. So for me, to go to like a more like commercial gym with machines and stuff, and then actually try and do like a program-based, more like bodybuilding-ish style program was probably in 2021. And I joined Anytime Fitness, and I don't go there anymore because I stopped going in November when my health wasn't doing too good, and then I haven't signed up since because I've been doing other stuff. Because my body decided that it didn't want to work out that way as much anymore. But anyway, yeah. So weight training, resistance training. If you want to do stuff like that, there's so many different ways. So many different kinds of programs, so many different ways you can program for yourself. But the main thing is to program something that you want to do, that you enjoy to do, that you can actually do, that your body is able to recover from, that your body is happy to do. And also to, there are these main movements, right, that we tend to do with weight training. There's like the back squat, leg press, Bulgarian split squat, chest supported rows, deadlifts, various kinds, Romanian deadlift or deadlift, and all the machines like the pec deck machine, reverse pec deck, leg curls, leg extensions, and then the movements with the cables and dumbbells for arms and other things. All of that's really great, and they're really nice movements. But what I found is there's also something about being able to do things like Cossack squats or horse stance squats, or in the past I used to do a lot more ground movements like crawling, rolling around and things like that. Swinging on a bar and stuff, jumping. For the longest time I was like, wow, I haven't jumped in a while. I had put on and sprinted, and I had put on so much weight from focusing on weightlifting that when I tried to jump and sprint again, my body was like, whoa, what the heck is this? What happened? When did this happen? And yeah, so that was pretty funny. So since then I've gone back more into like, because I quit the gym and my body was like, I want to train in a different way. Since then I've been training a bit differently, so I have added more things like jumps, more bodyweight exercises, more floor movements, and then also making space for doing random fun things like go climbing, which I haven't been able to do yet, and I want to go back to boxing and Muay Thai, like a for funsies, punch the bag kind of class again. Because I am every time like if I want to go for those partner-based classes, I'm pretty rusty. But from the years of doing martial arts, I'm pretty tired of. I mean, I used to train with people who are not beginners, and and then I got really comfy with like a coach holding pads for me, or people who are not beginners holding pads for me. Not that I'm really great right now. Okay, I'm probably like, if you call out a combo and you hit me, I probably wouldn't be able to respond as well as I used to. But with some beginner people, it's not about how they hold the pads for me, but it's like if we were to do partner work in terms of like maybe light sparring and stuff like that, they may not be very aware of how hard they're hitting, or may accidentally hit a little bit too hard. And I feel like I'm done getting hit in the head, and I probably have collected enough head injuries for the rest of my life. So I kind of want to minimize that a bit more. Like, minimize that to a zero as much as I can. Yeah, so that's why I tend to stick to classes where it's just me and a bag, or if it's partner, there is partner work. It's mainly pad work. Yeah. And even then, like when we do pad work, sometimes like if I think I was in a Muay Thai class, someone kicked me and they missed the pads and they kicked my ribs, or they kicked my leg, or they kicked almost at my head, and I can dodge. But yeah. But at the same time, like, it's a really nice feeling to punching and kicking pads that's very different from hitting a bag. And being able to move around with someone else holding pads is really nice and very fun, and the hit on pads is so much more satisfying than on the bag. I don't know, maybe one day I'll go back. And if I don't have the funds for it now, money-wise, to just have a coach hold pads for me, because that's what I could do, right? Just pay a coach, go, I don't want to do it too often, maybe like once a week, and then a coach holds pads for me. But this time, I would like my money to do other things, and I don't really have like free financial resources to do things like hire a coach to hold pads for me in a manner that feels safe and nice and I so enjoy. But it's okay. Maybe one day I'll do that again. Okay, so I guess we answered the question. That was really long-winded, but oh well. That's what streaming is about, right? Just chatting and stuff. Is my laptop getting oily from being in the kitchen? No! Oh well. I think it's fine. I don't think so. Maybe it's just my hands. Okay. Let's see. More questions. Another topic that I wanted to make a video about was this thing about. So we've been talking about injuries and stuff, and a lot of people, when they get injured, they want to go back to who they were, what they were before the injury, and the reality is that you got injured. So things have changed, and like tissues have been affected, and or sometimes it's not necessarily tissues have been affected, but maybe it's like some kind of chronic pain type something happening where there has been enough ignoring of certain symptoms to create a more chronic condition. Your body is thinking that there's something wrong with a specific part due to something that happened, but maybe nothing is actually happening at the moment anymore. So it can be quite complex to help someone like that with something like that. And I've experienced more like chronic pain too, so I've had to help myself with it too. But yeah, so this thinking of, if I get back to where I was, that's a better version of me. And sometimes it is important to acknowledge that the thing that has happened, and how you can then move forward from it, with it, and with all the knowledge that you will gain from listening to what's going on in your body, listening to the pain, working with your body, collaborating with your body to help yourself get to, places that you want to be, and also to be able to work within the current capacity that you have. And then from doing that and building a different and potentially healthier and closer relationship with yourself, you'll grow into maybe not what was you before the injury, but will be you of the future, whoever you will be as you go on this journey. So that was something that I wanted to make a video about, but I'm not really sure how to go about structuring that video yet, but maybe that will come to me at some point, or I'll brainstorm and think of how to talk about that in a YouTube-y way. But yeah, it is hard, it is hard to go through that journey, because when I have been injured, thinking about everything that I could do before the injury, it is hard to be like, oh, I can't do those things anymore. And then there's the worry, will I ever be able to do what I used to do, or for some people, they get injured doing something that they love, will I be able to do that thing again? And it is challenging and scary, and for some people it's not even about doing something you love. It can even be like you broke bones, and it feels like a big permanent-ish change, right, in your body. And you wonder, like, if it affects your leg, your foot, will I be able to walk again? Will I be able to feel the same walking again? Will I, when I dislocated my shoulders, both shoulders, not at the same time, but I have dislocated both of them. Yeah, at least they didn't collaborate and go, let's go at the same time, woo! But yeah, they will I be able to use my arms the same way again? Will I be able to, do I need to stop this activity forever? And sometimes that's really sad, and sometimes that is the case, and that's something that can be difficult to sit with, but is something that needs to be sat with. Yeah, when I was doing Muay Thai and I had a knee injury, and I was doing Muay Thai like trying to go for fights, and I had a knee injury, and it was knee pain that I had been ignoring for a while. This is before I knew everything I know now. So I was really young, and had a very different relationship with my body and training. So it was just like I wanted to get to a goal and I wanted to do it, and I did love training. I love training hard too. So had a knee injury, and it was this like early morning training session. It's like 6 a.m. I got up and managed to get to training 6:30 or 7 or something like that. And the first thing we do are sprints. And I was sprinting, and then there was this really bad pain in my knee. And I thought, okay, maybe as I warm up, it'll get better. And it did get better as I warmed up. So I was just like, okay, nothing big, don't need to think about it. And then I decided to continue training, and we did some pad work, and we were doing knees. So in Muay Thai you can knee your opponent or use elbows as well. And then my knee decided no more. We're done. And you tried to warn her, but you didn't listen, and now we are really done. I don't know why you thought continuing was a good idea. So I was in so much pain I couldn't move. I had to stop training completely. And I think I was heading to be able to fight in a few weeks. So maybe like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. So here I was expecting to just train, and so another thing was I was cutting weight, which means I wasn't eating enough to be able to recover from training. So recovery was shit. Training was probably way too much, honestly, and then also not listening to warning signs. So then my coach was like, okay, come over here. He gave me a little massage around my patella, which is your kneecap, my kneecap. And he was like, oh, your patella is so small, and my patella is very small. He's like, oh wow, what a tiny patella. And then he moved it around, just kind of eased it up, and the pain subsided a little bit. But then he told me, he's like, you're really young, and it's more important that you get to walk and use your knee for the rest of your life than it is to go for this fight. And by this point, I had been hoping to fight because I had 2 fights cancelled for some reason. I can't remember anymore. So I was thinking like, oh, this might be it. And it wasn't even a Muay Thai fight. I was hitting, and I had been cutting weight for quite a while now because I was like, oh, this fight, that fight, this. And then I think I was going to try to do an MMA fight. Anyway, and then I really sat with that, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to stop trying to train to fight, or like training to fight, right? To just stop training in this super competitive way. And then I just stopped. And it was really weird because I went from training every day, sometimes twice a day, to nothing. Because at that time I didn't see a physio because I don't know why I didn't see a physio. It was really silly of me. I probably should have seen someone, a professional. But I just stopped training completely because after that day, my knee, I couldn't really put weight on it for a long time. And now me would be like, hey, we can still do other things. Go to the gym, work around the injury, do other things. What can your knee do? What can your other leg do? You know, let's still move your spine. Let's still do other things. Because it probably is nice for an athlete to still move their body and feel like they can do stuff, and just nice for a human being to still feel like they can do stuff. Alright, done. Fine. Let's have a look. Okay, so now what I do is I let that cool down for a bit before I do the pressure cooking. Just let that chill out for a bit. So yeah, now me would be like, yeah, okay, let's go to the gym and you can still do all these upper body movements. You can still do even like pull-ups and stuff like that. Well, I guess pull-ups would be like a bit tenuous if I jumped down and I landed on that right leg. So I stopped completely, and that was not the nicest. And then I had to kind of have this like identity thing where I'm like, and I had jumped from like, I had moved from sport to sport. So this was the first time in my life not really working towards any kind of sport related goal. And then I had to really think, like, if I don't do something like this, if I'm not an athlete, who am I? What am I? What do I do with my time? Even though I do have other things that I do in my life, I enjoyed doing things like playing guitar and making music and stuff. So it's not like I was identity-less without the sport, but it did take up a lot of my life and a lot of my energy. And then also cutting weight took up a lot of my brain space to just think of, my mind was forever on food. It was like maybe thinking of what to eat next, probably suppressing cravings, and then just like thinking about food all the time. Like, I wish I could eat cinnamon rolls. Yeah, so then I had to kind of sit with that. Like, if I don't, and also my shoulders were dislocating often, so I was pretty beat up, and I think my body was ready to say they were done with the sport for now or maybe forever. And then I just stopped that sport for quite a while. And then I guess I thought of like what might it look like later on further down to kind of do this sport in a way where it's still okay for me. So I landed on, I can do punching bag things, but no more partner work stuff, no more competitive stuff. But anyway, so yes, being able to sit with the life changes that you might need to go through because of an injury, it is very hard. And that clearly what happened to me at the time with the knee injury, and that was my first knee injury. Another knee injury happened slightly later on. That wasn't even because I ignored anything, but because of someone else deciding to do a wrestling move on me. So yes, I pretty much had to sit with the fact that I was not going to do that sport anymore. It was I didn't go back to it. I mean, I tried to a little bit, just doing pad work. Pretty much that was the last period of time I sparred, and I definitely didn't do it competitively at all again. And I think that was also the last time I did any sort of competitive sports. So I had to shift just what it means to train in a way that fits me of now, that I don't really need to like be an athlete in a way. Yeah, so that was a big change. And I learned other things about the body, and since then my training has changed a lot. And also learning from people I've trained with, people I've met along the way, and who have done different forms of training. Learning from them, training with them, has changed how I approach physical practice very, very differently. And I'm still learning, and I'm still adapting to what my body is currently capable of. I'm using this fork to just push the rubber on the lid back in because it would be way too hard for me to poke that with my finger. And yep. It's time! Okay, be free! So now we let that pressure cook, and it turns into this little gravy, minced beef with gravy thing, which is yummy to have with rice. And sometimes I like putting some dashi powder. Dashi, hondashi, and then adding some water, and then it turns into like this beef soup, beef ochazuke. This is dashi is it bonito? Like bonito powder? Dashi. What is dashi made of? Yeah, dashi mostly utilizes a combination of kombu, kelp seaweed, and katsuobushi, dried bonito flakes. Yeah, dashi is yummy. Anyway, yeah, maybe next time I can talk about some things, some other ways, some other injuries and things, training related things that I had to change or overcome over the years of training. And then some maybe client cases without revealing anything, no names, no nothing, other than relevant information about what happened to them. Oh, we can turn off the fan. That's probably way quieter. For those who have stayed tuned in with that on, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, and also if you're in here and you haven't followed, I would appreciate if you followed me, and if you wanna tune into streams again. Today is a little bit different. Well, this is my third stream, so there isn't really a consistent thing that I do. Is that I can't be like, oh yeah, I always do this, or I've done this like 3 times or 2 times before this. So yeah, I'm just trying out different things, but I really enjoy streaming, so it's just fun. I've been wanting to stream for a while, and I feel like with the gaming, it captures like going to a friend's house and playing games with friends. Even though I don't really have like all that many people in chat, actually being like how it is like when they're friends at home, playing games together yet. But it kind of reminds me of like when I used to play games with friends and we'd be on the phone with each other, and we're not talking, but we're just playing games together. And when I streamed Firewatch, it kind of reminded me of that, and streaming just I just wanted to capture that vibe again, because when you're an adult, you do that way less. So now you do it with the internet, as in with the internet people. Yeah. And then also be able to just talk about things a little bit more off the cuff, because I try making YouTube videos and it's somewhat fun, but I really like more spontaneous ways of talking about things and interacting with people and stuff. So I'm like, maybe streaming suits me better. Yep. Alright, still looking for questions. More questions. There are a lot of people asking about like fitness tracker related stuff, like should I trust the amount of calories my fitness tracker says I burn, or like is that accurate? Probably not. But I think with any kind of measuring tool that we use, not like weighing machines, but like if your weighing machine does do things like body fat calculator or body fat measuring, you can what you can do is just see the trends that occur. So not take the number as is, but notice the trends that seem to happen, and then gauge from there like what is happening in your body. And then I think it's the same for like these trackers. Like you can just wear the tracker and be like this. You can like ballpark things, but probably not actually be like, I'm gonna eat like 800 more calories because I played basketball and my watch said I burned 800 calories, so let me eat 800 calories more. So you can probably just see like generally when you do an activity how many calories your watch says it burns. If it varies a lot, even though it's a similar duration, maybe it's something to question for sure. But then again, you know, when with games, like when you measure something like, I don't know, like this person's asking like for football or soccer. Like if you measure it for like a game, it's so different each time too. It's just difficult, I guess. Like you might spend a lot more time running, depending on the position you play and depending on what happens and the people you play with, like how relaxed they play or how more competitively they play. So yeah, it's hard to track. I think this YouTuber called Fergus Crawley, what he does is he takes away like 200 calories or something like that from the measurements so that there's some buffer, and then he uses that as his measuring for how many calories he burned for cardio based activities, because he does weightlifting and stuff like that. So he tries to eat more calories to be able to recover from the cardio based workouts, because yes, if you are otherwise you start losing muscle mass and potentially strength if you are trying to also be strong while being able to do things like cycle 100 kilometers and run throughout the whole world. Yeah. So yep. Oh, people asking about leg training and being like, is training legs twice a week enough? Should I train more? This is one of the things. So I've like training more at the commercial gym. I was doing a lot more things with the leg press machine, barbells, stuff like that, Smith machine, and hex squat machine. But since then, so I used to go like heavy at one, like it was nice to be able to leg press like 100 kg, which is way like more than my body weight, which is I guess quite normal. I mean, there's nothing to like shout about, but it's nice to be able to do that. It felt nice and strong doing it, but at the same time, it felt like, to be honest, like my hip mobility was just not as great as when I used to do a greater variety of leg movements. So what I tried to do was I add more lunges, blah blah blah, things like that. But then I end up with so many leg things going on, and sometimes I'm like maybe for lower body movements, or like for lower body movements, why do we stick to the base, what people call the basics, like the deadlift, the barbell squat, as in barbell back squat, and then mainly these two, and then the Romanian deadlift is another one, and then maybe front squat for some people, and leg press, right? Like a lot of people use the leg press. So I have found, and I'm trying to implement this more, like doing more body weight or like body weight leg movements have benefited me in the last few months. I'm still finding what the balance is, and I do miss lifting heavier for my legs. I just don't have access to like a barbell or very heavy weights at the moment, and the like this downstairs small tiny gym I work out at has a cable machine, and I've been doing some deadlifts with a cable with the straight bar attachment. And it's just different, man. It's just different from like a barbell. I really love doing Romanian deadlifts with the barbell. It just feels so good. Like the feeling of your feet being just pushing the floor away. My feet just pushing the floor away just felt so good. But yeah, but I'm still playing around with all these, like doing more body weight lunges, doing more explosive movements with legs, jumps, doing like split jumps, lateral jumps, jump squats, weighted jump squats. I'm playing around with those, and it's also been fun to do that. So I'm still learning and figuring that out, and it's been helpful, I would say, for my hip mobility. It does feel more taxing on my knees for some reason. Probably the jumps more than anything have been more taxing on my knees, and they like my right knee, which I injured. We just talked about it. Is gets quite achy from jumping, but I think that's just like doing little bits at a time and then letting the tissues recover and adapt, and then I think it'll be okay eventually. Yep. So yeah, training legs. I think it'll be like I do think it's beneficial for people to do more body weight related leg stuff and more dynamic leg movements, because in actual life we need to do things like go up the stairs. Sometimes you might need to do things like go under things, go over things, balance on things. Being able to do those things seems important, or being able to get up from the floor easily, or be able to move around on the floor comfortably, I think also could be really beneficial. So I'm still playing around with that, like yeah, trying to get back into more body weight or calisthenics-ish leg movements, and they have been fun. Also, it's nice to be able to jump more again. I'm so heavy compared to how I used to feel jumping in the past, but it's okay. Yeah, it's almost like my muscles feel so much stronger, but my joints are like, whoa, that's all. My tendons feel like, whoa, that's new. Which is really strange, because you would think this only happens to people who take steroids, but maybe being hypermobile changes things. Like this, I can do like, how do I this stuff like that. Hypermobile, so my joints go away sometimes when I train a little bit too hard. Or they just need a little bit more time to recover even from strength, not really strength training, more like hypertrophy based movements. If I focus on the eccentric quite a bit, like if I do eccentric training, like at one point I was doing dips with overloading eccentrics. So I put weight in a bag and then I do the dips because I can't dip with my body weight yet. And I'm trying to just overload by doing the eccentric portion of the movement. And oh my god, the DOMs, even though I did them consistently, my body was like, whoa. So movements where there's a lot of stretch and eccentric movement portions, oh my god, my body's like, whew. And then it takes quite a bit of time to recover. So I try to manage that volume and make the movements a certain way so that there's only some of that, not like every movement is doing that. So I don't feel wrecked. Which I had to learn that. Okay. Should the cardio I do match the muscle group I'm training that day, such as doing cycling after leg day, rowing machine after pull day? I guess it depends on how you want to recover, because and then how you do your split, right? If you are on a push pull legs, and for that, and the reason you are doing that is so that you can recover the muscles that you use in a push and a pull and a legs, then it would make sense to group them together in that way. And if you're not prioritizing the cardio-based training, but if you're trying to do things like run fast, well, I guess something you can do is like, if you're wanting to run a certain distance or you want to run a certain speed and you need to do running training, you could do the run before the leg session. So you prioritize the run. But another way to do it is to put the run on a non-lower body day, because then you'll be fresher to be able to do that. So I think it really depends on like your goals. Like, are you just doing cardio to like, just to do cardio, you know, for your heart, for your coco roll? Or are you doing it to like, to have some kind of I'm worried that this is not pressurizing, but sometimes it does that. That's why I had to push the rubber thing back onto the lid, because sometimes it doesn't seal properly, and then what ends up happening is it just continues to fry inside there. Never mind. It is yummy when it does that though. It has happened and it's crispy, so it's fine. I would just need to stop it though. I can't remember how long it's been trying to do this. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so depends on what the cardio is for and what you're doing with the cardio in it. Ooh, okay. Typical question. Wait. Yeah, like people asking, should I stretch after training, after strength training? Is it harmful? Is it helpful? I have heard that it's helpful. And isn't it supposed to help? Okay, like the fitness world has like gone nuts with stretching in a way where it's like, at one point it was like demonized, and like stretching is bad. You don't have to do stretching. Stretching, never stretching. And stretching useless. why stretch when you can just move through range of motion with weight? Or like stretching doesn't actually give you any gains, like passive stretching, like you just fold forward, or you hold a stretch for long periods of time. And then also, like, at one point it was like stretching is harmful. Stretching is mainly harmful if you do it, I think, before training, before strength training. But after it, I don't know, like, okay, after it really depends on whether you like stretching. And stretching, if you have flexibility goals, could be helpful. And another thing is, like, if you just don't move into those ranges of movement very often, it could be beneficial to just do things like reach for your toes, sit in like a different positions on the floor, so that your hips, get a bit more different movements. And because your hips can do like external rotation of the hip, internal rotation of the hip, and all sorts of things. And it could be helpful to stretch just because it's healthy to have your joints move and your muscles move through lengths. And if your training doesn't really do stuff like moving through bigger ranges of movement, then it could be beneficial to stretch after. I think there's conflicting information about whether it helps with recovery. But the nice thing about stretching is it can help with, as with any kind of stimulus to your body, can be pressure, so like foam rolling and stuff like that. Stretching can be a way to bring sensation to a part of the body that will then create a sense of comfort after. And in terms of like muscle and tendon health, it could be beneficial to just be able to be in those ranges of movement, and also to be able to stretch is like the length of the muscles and tendons, but also the sensation of stretch. And sometimes being able to tolerate the sensation of stretch can be useful. Yep. And I think with stretching, it also depends on how if you're hypermobile or not. For example, for me, I have ranges of movement without really needing to, how to say, train in a way where I have to get my joints to be able to tolerate my joints to be able to open up to have the movement. But this doesn't mean that my nervous system thinks it's okay to be in those positions. So with stretching, I've noticed that it's because at one point in time I wasn't stretching as much. My tolerance for the stretch sensation went down quite a bit. So but it's quite quick to change. You just stretch a little bit every day and it changes. But two, when I because I don't put my muscles and tendons and ligaments in those positions as much, I notice that my body responds in a way where it's like, that is dangerous. So then the range of motion starts to clamp down, and then there might be other things that try to reduce range of motion in the area. So that might be tightness, that can be pain signals, so just sending out pain signals, can be like this, just discomfort, and being like, don't do that again. Yeah, so what I need to do, and then because when I stretch, because I have access to the range, not necessarily in a comfortable way, but I could do it. Like I could do like a front split if I wanted to. But because it's not a familiar position to me, my body deems it as dangerous. So what I have needed to do is, if I do want to stretch, I need to really work with the pain, the stretch sensation tolerance levels, and work within like a 3 to 4 out of 10 intensity range, and then just wait for it to slowly go down, and then you can go back to a 4 out of 10. Because if I go boom to like a 7 or 8, I notice what happens, which is probably going really deep into the range of motion. My body is like, no, that's dangerous and scary. Yeah. So yes, if you have hypermobility, stretching can cause that, possibly. Yep. So work with the stretch sensation if you're getting into stretching, and then also if you have an understanding of what the end range of the stretch is, go to like the beginning ranges of that, and then go really slowly through the ranges and test how you feel. My audio is buzzing. Why?